Good day, everyone. I'm gonna talk about SQL Server String Functions, the 21st and the 25th parts of it. Starting with the SQL Server RT-RIM functions. The RT-RIM functions removes trailing spaces from a string. Note, also look at the LT-RIM functions to get an idea of what RT-RIM is. Syntax of the RT-RIM is RT-RIM open parenthesis string close parenthesis. The parameter values is string and its description, it requires the string to remove trailing spaces from. Our syntax example is select RT-RIM open parenthesis semicolon SQL tutorial semicolon close parenthesis as right-rim string. We have a video demonstration on how the syntax works. Moving on, we have the SQL Server soundEx functions. The soundEx functions returns 4-character code to evaluate the similarity of two expressions. Note, the soundEx converts the string to a 4-character code based on how the string sounded when spoken. And a tip, also look at the difference function. We also have a syntax for soundEx. The syntax is soundEx open parenthesis expression close parenthesis. And the parameter is expression, and its description, it required the expression to evaluate can be constant, variable, or column. Our syntax example is select soundEx open parenthesis semicolon juice semicolon close parenthesis soundEx open parenthesis semicolon juicy semicolon close parenthesis. And we have a video demonstration on how the syntax works. Up next is SQL Server space functions. The space function returns a string of the specified number of space characters. Its syntax is space, open parenthesis, number, close parenthesis. The parameter is number. In its description, it requires the number of spaces to be returned. Our syntax example is select space, open parenthesis 10, close parenthesis. And we have a video demonstration on how the syntax works. Up next is SQL Server str functions. The str function returns a number as a string. Its syntax is str open parenthesis number, length, decimals, close parenthesis. Here we have the parameter values. Starting with the number. Its description, it required the number to convert to a string. Up next is length. Its description is optional, the length of the returning string, and its default value is 10. And lastly, decimals. Its description is optional, the number of decimal to display in the returning string. Default value is 0. Our example syntax is select str open parenthesis 185 close parenthesis. And we have a demo presentation on how the syntax works. And lastly, we have the SQL Server stuff functions. The stuff functions deletes a part of a string and then inserts another part into the string, starting at a specified position. Its syntax is stuff, open parenthesis string, start, length, new underscore string close parenthesis. We have 4 parameter values, starting with the string. Its description, it required the string to be modified. Next is start. Its description, it is required the position in string to start to delete some characters. Next up is length. It's required the number of characters to delete from string. And lastly, new underscore string. It is also required the new string to insert into string at the start position. And our syntax example is select stuff, open parenthesis, semicolon SQL tutorial, semicolon 1, 3, semicolon HTML, semicolon close parenthesis. And we have a demo presentation on how the syntax works. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you learned something new about the 21st and the 25th SQL function.